Hello chess friends and welcome to your of Chess channel and welcome back to the Computer Rapid Chess Championship Superfinals between the two top engines Stockfish and Leela C0. So the tournament is over. We know the winner of this prestigious chess event. It's Stockfish. Stockfish really destroyed Leela C0 in the Superfinals after 250 games that they had to play. The result was 143 points for Stockfish and only 107 points for Leela C0. So it's simple as that. Stockfish is simply the best engine in the world. Proved itself also in the previous competition. So again, really a pure domination also in this Rapid Chess Championship. So I've sorted out one beautiful, sharp, brilliant attacking game with cool also positional elements in which Stockfish here played with the white pieces and Leela C0 played with the black pieces in the so-called O'Kelly variation of the Sicilian defense. So Stockfish opened with the move e4. Leela's response was the c5, the Sicilian, knight to f3, and we have now the move a6, which is now the so-called O'Kelly variation. And the idea is clear, to make progress at least here on the queen side with the move b5, but the O'Kelly variation in my opinion is nothing spectacular. It's not even bad. I think it's perfectly fine to play the game like this, because in some other lines of the Sicilian, like the Nidor for maybe the Chevening system with move e6, you're playing also the a6 move afterwards, so it's maybe a little bit different move order, but also with progressive plans, of course, to make here an attack on the queen side with the move b5. So we have c3, which is now the so-called Venice system. We're trying here to get a breakthrough in the center of the board, like in the Alpine variation. When you play c3, then we want to make further progress with move d4, but it's of course not the Alpine anymore because black played the move a6. So in the game we have d6, d4, knight from b to d7 here, attacking also the e5 square. In the next couple of moves we can also expect this kind of a progress. We have bishop to d3, queen to c7, kingside castling, knight to f6, queen to e2, and now comes this idea e5. And Stockfish makes, I think, here really a good choice. D takes e5, good move, because after d takes e5, black is now left with a weak square in the position, which is now the d5 square. Look at this. This square is unprotected now by any pawns. We have made progress, of course, here with white pieces with c5 and e5, but you don't have now the c6 pawn anymore, or maybe also the e6 pawn possibility. You cannot cover the d5 square immediately, so that's why Stockfish makes immediately progress with the move c4 and attacks now the weakness on d5. So Leela does the same, retreats now with the knight. It seems like a strange move, but it makes sense because you play knight to c6 and then you're also attacking now the weak square on d4 in white's position. White has also problems here in this on this side of the board. So knight to c3, knight to c6. Now comes this idea, knight to d5, kicking with the queen. The queen drops back, and now rook from f to d1, indirectly of course attacking the queen. The queen is now lined up on the d file. If the d file in some ways clears, then of course the queen can be endangered. Good really position move here by Stockfish. So Leela plays h6, prevents the move bishop to g5, and now comes, in my opinion, a beautiful positional move here by Stockfish. Maybe you can pause the video and try to see now a cool idea here for white. Let's also a little bit study here maybe chess strategy and middle game ideas. I think the plan that Stockfish had here was really a brilliant one. Maybe just for fun, try to make here progress from white's perspective. Okay, here Stockfish played the brilliant move b4, and this move I really like. This is really a nice deflection idea, because obviously the square d4 is also to be taken here by black, so black will jump with the knight on d4. In order to make it somehow worse, to this jump on d4, here Stockfish sacrificed one pawn just in order to deflect the pawn from the protection of the d4 square, which is in my opinion a great choice, because Stockfish has already this outposted knight, has already the space advantage now in the center of the board. Now Stockfish with this move makes the life hard here for Leela C0 to do the same, to do also this outpost on d4. Let's see possible continuations that have not been played, but I really was curious what are other solutions of this positional battle here, because if you play something like b6, then you take in some lines the escape route for the queen. The queen is now a little bit paralyzed. Look at this: c7 square is taken, b6 square is taken. Then you don't have also the a5 square. So maybe then look at this: bishop to c2 can be played. And if in some lines, for instance, black would have continued here with the move knight to d4, then there is even this monster tactic: rook to d4 is here an even possibility. Look at this: e takes d4, e5, knight to d5, c takes d5. You cannot pick up the pawn on d5. You get bishop to e4, and now after something like g6, even e6 is here a possibility. So the attack that white gains immediately is enormous here. I think black would be destroyed in the next couple of moves. So you see, b6 is not working. It's simply too slow. White will simply make progress here on the d file, and then, as I said, there are even some sacrifice possibilities around the square d4. If, for instance, after move b4, black continues with immediately the move knight to d4, then simply knight takes d4, and after something like c takes d4, bishop to b2, normal development. And now, in my opinion, this is pretty solid here. We have here a 3 versus 2 pawn majority attack on the queen side. So even if, for instance, black recaptures here also the knight on d5, then e takes d5. Look at this, the e file is open. So again, a messed up game here for white. So after move b4, Leela decided to play simply c takes b4. Accepting the challenge. But I think it was very important for us to solve the positional problems now after move b4. So Leela simply took. Stockfish makes now progress with the move bishop to e3. It's not allowing this positional outpost on d4. Very nice move. In the game, knight to d7. Here Leela is preparing to push it here on the dark squares, trying to get rid of any defender of the d4 square, which is of course obviously the bishop. So that's why bishop to c5 is now the positional plan here by Leela c0. We have bishop to c2, again with the same ideas, lining up the rook against the queen. The queen is now endangered. Bishop to c5, bishop takes c5, knight takes c5, and now queen to e3. Again, it's a simple battle for the d4 square. Again, Stockfish is not allowing this outpost on the knight, but also is indirectly attacking here the knight on c5, because after queen to a5 so far this knight is protected. But you see now what kind of a problem here this knight on c5 is, because in one particular moment the queen will be lined up on the 5th rank. We'll come to that part, but this knight is a little bit loose here on c5 too. It makes also a little bit here black's life harder. So in the game now, Stockfish plays the brilliant move, plays now an amazing knight takes e5. It's not allowing here Leela c0 to breathe. Here the knight is attacking now the center of the board. You have to react. If you don't react, then we'll simply even in some lines trade off the queens. We can also play the knight to e7, for instance. You castle, knight to c6, knight to e7 is an opportunity. So it's simply not working. So you have to accept the challenge. After move knight to e5, we have knight takes e5, but now comes the beautiful idea, queen to g3. If you play something like f6, then of course queen to g7 is going to happen. You simply lose the pawn, then the rook is hanging. We'll pick up this one with the knight maybe even. So it's simply not working. So if you play something like here knight to g6, if you try to cover the g file but also escape with the knight, then you get the fork here on c7, and the game is over here for black for sure. So that's why first kingside castling had to be played. But now Stockfish doesn't even pick up the knight immediately, plays now a brilliant knight to f6. The king has to step back here to h8, and now queen to e5, because you cannot take now the knight on f6, because look at this, queen to f6, you have to play something like king to g8, and now e5 is simply winning the game. The queen gets here, we play here something like queen to h6. You have to now play f6 in order to control the h7 square, but now we simply pick it up, and now I don't know, after something like bishop to e6, queen to g6, and now the rook lift is winning the game. There's simply no good defense against this move, rook to h4. So great attacking possibility. So you see, after move queen to e5, Leela didn't dare of course to pick up now the knight on f6. So that's why Leela developed bishop to e6. We have now a rook to d3. Look at this, that's what I've talked about. The knight is a little bit here loose. The knight cannot move. You cannot pick up here the rook because you lose the queen. In the game, rook from a to c8 was played by Leela c0, and now Stockfish has a perfect attacking formation. Everything is active here. The knight is very good. The queen is on e5. The rook is on g3. The bishop is on c2. We have seen if we manage to push through somehow the move e5, then it's devastating. Really, it's game over for black. So look at this. I would really not love to play this game from black's perspective. It seems to me that here black is just getting destroyed for sure. But okay, Leela is Leela. Leela is also great engine. Finds simply also the best now defensive moves. Rook from f to d8. We have now the move h3, b5. Control playing here on the queen side. We have c takes b5, a takes b5, and now knight to h5. Stockfish makes further progress around the square g7. It seems to me that that you cannot even defend this position, but now comes the only move that makes that prolongs the game simply here for black somehow. It's the move f6. The problem here is actually that you cannot play immediately on this beautiful tactic knight to f6, because then queen to c7 simplifies the game. Still, white is much better, but black survived the attack. That's the issue here. So that's why after move f6, Stockfish retreated first to b2 here. Queen to b2 stays simply on this diagonal. Now we have knight to d7 and rook to d7. Pardon me. Now knight to f6 is coming. No trades of queens are possible. If you want to trade off the queens now, it's a different story. We will eventually trade it off, and then maybe we can also pick up here the rook on d7. So again, not a good game. We can also then maybe play queen to e5 still, but no trades of queens are possible. No good trades of pieces. Still, everything is messed up here on the king side. So after move knight to f6, we have rook to f7, knight to d5, queen to a7, queen to d4. We have knight to a6, queen to d2, and now after queen to e3, b3 was Leela c0's last move, because Leela sensed there are some tactical possibilities on the a file, but Stockfish now simply accepts the challenge. We have knight, bishop to b3, knight takes b3, queen takes a7, rook takes a7, and now rook to b3. It's now a completely winning endgame here. Stockfish has gained now 2 extra pawns in this endgame, but of course it's a tough battle. Many of us in human level will struggle to win this game, but of course here we have to use this 2 pawn majority here on the king side. That's the side that we should push, and also obviously the b5 pawn is a weakness. So rook to a4, f3, bishop to d5, e takes d5, rook to d4. Stockfish grabs another pawn. Stockfish is now up 3 pawns, which should be really winning. In the game we have rook to d2. Leela is trying to get some kind of an activity here on the second rank, maybe even to do some perpetual checks or something, surviving somehow this position. But of course Stockfish finds simply the best moves. King to h2, look at this, rook to c2, and now Stockfish makes a huge move here. King to g3, allowing even the check on g2, getting the king forward. Very nice move, because you want to of course have your king active in such endgames, because the active king is really one of the most important pieces in chess endgames. We have now rook from g to e2, a4, simply pushing the pawn further. We have rook to c4, attacking the king. The king drops back to g3, and now g5, and now rook to b7. Very nice move, because if in some lines even this pawn is taken, we can always somehow include maybe also this other rook into the game. There are even some checkmate threats, so black needs to be careful also on the back rank. It's not that black has only one problem with the pawns. No, black has really many problems also on the back rank, because although this is a natural position here for the king on g3, but it's hard for black to attack the king anyway. So after move h5 that Leela c0 played, look at this, even the h4 move is huge, right? It's even a checkmate threat, and now comes a brilliant idea here by Stockfish. h4. For instance, let's see what happens if you play rook takes h4. Then here we have this one, rook to c1 as promised. We have here this back rank problems on the 8th rank. Black needs not to play the move rook to e8, and now we just push the pawns. You cannot stop both of them. You can maybe pick up one of these pawns, but after move d7, rook to d8, we can simply play the game like this, and the game is over here for black. So really amazing ideas here by Stockfish 15. So after move h4 that the Stockfish played, Leela played g takes h4. We have king to h3, rook to e3, attacking now the pawn on f3, rook to f7, covering everything, but staying also with the rook active. Not that Stockfish is only protecting the pawn. Stockfish is playing still on a beautiful activity. We have king to g8, rook to f5, king to g7, now a rook to g1, first a check, and now the king is cornered. Stockfish changed a little bit the board, but still there are some checkmate threats. For instance, in some lines we can play even rook to h8, and it would be a checkmate. Of course, black can prevent it, but it's again a plan to somehow create madness here also on the king side. So in the game a5, you have to stay behind this pawn, very important move. But now we have this one, a6. If you play rook takes a6, then king to h4 is here very, very dangerous. You can play maybe one check, but look at this, rook to h5 is going to happen. So it's a messed up game here for black again. So after move a6, Leela played rook to b3, rook to f6, first a check. Stockfish plays another check, and now simply pushes the pawn further. We have rook to b6. We have now here this move, rook to g8 again, threatening the promotion on the a file. We have rook from b to a6, and now simply d6. So as I said, you cannot stop both of these pawns. You can maybe prevent one idea, but another pawn is coming. So we have rook to a1, rook to e8, king to g6, and now simple d7, rook to h1, a first check, but nothing spectacular. Here we have a promotion after a couple of trades of pieces. King to h3 was played, again a couple of checks by Leela c0, rook to d1, but now after rook from a to f8, rook to d4, again a check, nothing spectacular. Stockfish grabbed another pawn, promoted here to queen, and after a couple more moves, it was a beautiful, beautiful checkmate by these three heavy artillery pieces. So incredible game here by Stockfish. Really nice attacking flow. In the beginning, I really loved this move b4, which created really madness in the center of the board, which was a really beautiful positional move b4, deflecting the pawn from the center of the board, not allowing black to make further progress around the square d4, which would be, I think, a good choice also for black. Black would then equalize the game, but Stockfish found really here cool ideas, in my opinion. Great strategic play, but also cool tactical play in the end of this beautiful chess game. So okay, as said, Stockfish is now the winner of the Computer Rapid Chess Championship. Congratulations again to the developers of the beautiful chess engine. If you want to see more beautiful attacking games like this, check out our commented chess games played by computer series with some more games played by Stockfish, Alpha Zero, Leela Zero, Dragon Engine, and many more. And if you like this content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.